Women's Month places the focus on the achievements and struggles of women across South Africa. It makes me so proud to see how so many women are taking the reins and leading in a variety of fields. Assalamu alaikum, welcome to An Nur the Light. Durban is our first port of call, where we get to spend some time with Nazareen Ebrahim, a woman on the move.
Nazareen Ebrahim is a young woman who sets her sights and triumphs at whatever she does. Her company, Socially Acceptable, is setting the bar in doing things differently.
Socially Acceptable is a digital media and communications agency. We're proudly Durban. We're based here for a reason, because we want to become the leading media and communications agency in KZN. And I think we're working pretty much on doing that. Our mandate is to educate people on digital communications and what it means for their businesses. The target market is broad, business to business. We've started mostly with small businesses. And I've noticed that there's a lot of work to be done, because I think customers or clients here particularly see us. We always say this is poorer cousin, right? Durban, KZN, compared to Johannesburg and Cape Town, where the thriving digital agency culture. And people tend to believe in those services. Here, it's a lot of education. And I think, it's important for us to be able to do this here, because we're testing and proving that technologies work for small businesses.
Social media entrepreneur, radio presenter, businesswoman, and TV host are just some of the titles that describe Nazareen Ebrahim. Media and communications have become her forte, and she's excelling at it.
Nazareen does a show for us called Biz Today. We identified her some years back when the channel was very, very new. And we identified her as a person that can do this kind of program, profiling people, managing to talk to people, and pulling in the right kind of resources to do a program of this nature.
The show has been going for more than a year now. It's called We Mean Business. It's really fantastic to see the responses I get from people. We had a show we hosted on grant funding in South Africa. And I had so many calls after that saying, it's great that you hosted this, and those were the right people. What are their contact details? And just to know you're helping people. That's what our forum is about. We're not just taking these businesses who come on. We give businesses exposure. We say, come and tell us what you do. But we also get people who are offering and initiatives that are offering real value to small businesses. Get them on the show and start teaching people. That, for me, is important.
Well, Nazareen's show has brought in different elements in terms of with business. The show is not just angled at Muslim listeners. It's a very diverse listenership that it's brought in. Her people that she interviews, the people that come onto the show, the startup guys, they from different backgrounds. You've got people, there's white people, there's colored people, there's Indian people, and even the larger black community, which we are in KwaZulu-Natal, of course. They all come across, and you have different people who now have started listening to the show and want to partake. Even her callers that she takes, when she opens the lines, you can hear that there's different or a variety of listeners and cultural backgrounds.
Nazareen entered and won the Minara Chamber of Commerce's entrepreneur competition, and this led to her establishing Socially Acceptable.
Winning the Minara Chamber's Entrepreneur of the Year competition, hosted by the KZN Council of Chambers and the KZN Economic Development Department, and winning under them, it really proved that this business is doing something. I had just thought, I'm doing all this work. It's making an impact, but is it making an impact? I know it is.
More and more people and companies are turning to social media, especially as a new means of communicating. With a wealth of knowledge gained while working in this field, Nazareen becomes well positioned to help clients get the most for their business.
I've worked with clients across the country and also consulted with them on their social media strategy particularly. That's what I've become known for, social media, more so. I'm a writer by nature. I've done a lot of work, been published in journals and newspapers. I used to be a columnist for the Post newspaper. But I think some of the work that I'm really happy with, and there was an agricultural incubator in Nullspruit. And the work that we did with them, they had no social presence. They had a website online, which was great, and and sort of a newsletter that went on and off. So we sort of restructured that process, put in the social media, and also acted as media liaison for them with a lot of companies that came to them wanting to expose them. And so those, for me, as a small business owner, is touching the lives of small businesses, medium businesses, and working with them. I've also had a chance to work with bigger brands like Norox and Dove and those kind of brands, but as part of other bigger teams. And so when you look at those particular brands, all I take away is the fact that I can take this knowledge and come back and empower other people.
Far too often, young men and women find problems when they should be concentrating on solutions. Nazareen Ebrahim has shown that dreams are made to be pursued. Her self-belief and commitment to success serve as the foundation from which she works, and it has paid dividends.
Our street style segment is my favorite place to get fresh ideas on how to wear my hijab, and this week doesn't disappoint. In our recent trip to Johannesburg, we found some trendsetters and go-getters doing it in the name of modest fashion.
Style for me is basically an individual creating their own identity. It's a personal thing for me, so the way I feel, the way I create my pieces together with clothing is vibrant, colorful, modest, comfortable.
Style to me, it's an expression of yourself, basically. It's how you would like to be perceived by others. It's how you represent yourself, and it's how you carry yourself. It's how fashion makes you feel.
I'd say style in fashion is a vital aspect to everything towards myself. Growing up, as an individual, what I like to believe is that it's anything that you're comfortable within.
I like colors. I don't like black, so it makes me moody. So I took a plain abaya, did my hijab differently, and just put on something else.
So the look that I'm actually going for today is a very semi-formal look. Black jeans, a boot, scarf, I'd like to call this a long top, and a casual jacket, just to break it up. The colors itself are very mid-tone colors, from your lights to your darks, your grays. So basically based on my mood, based on what I feel, based on the occasion, that's how I create a concoction of exactly what I wear.
I like to play around with combination of textiles, but today I stuck with the same, which is basically a net, and I'm wearing a dress that has a sequin top and a palazzo pants with a shiny shoe just to spice it up a bit, and obviously my turban.
Being a Muslimah in a modern society is tough because people do look at it as something foreign. So hijab is foreign to certain people, but for me it's my identity. So to keep strong to that is a challenge, but a worthy challenge.
So being a Muslim doesn't only affect the way I dress, but also the way I interact with people, how I portray myself, how I carry myself. And so yeah, it has impacted my sense of style greatly, because before I never used to wear hijab.
Islam does tell you that you should dress modestly. It does not actually tell you that, that dress like this, dress like that. As long as you dress in a modest way, as long as you dress in a comfortable way, as long as you dress in a respectable way.
I love the confidence that comes with looking good and wearing the hijab. With women claiming their place in the business world, the need for support in the home has grown. Gone are the days of running around for a babysitter or worrying about how your child is coping with the loads of homework they receive. Au pairs are here to make life a bit easier, and we met with Amira Kara to find out more.
Au pairs have been known as women from foreign countries who take on assisting a family with childcare and other household duties in exchange for board and lodging and a monetary allowance. The demand for such individuals is increasing in South Africa as moms make up a substantial part of the workforce, and with many young women looking for work, au pairs can now be sourced within our borders.
The reason we decided to get an au pair in is because my job requires me to be on the road a lot of the time. I work very odd hours, so I find myself coming home a lot later, which doesn't leave much time for homework, and then it's time to eat supper, and then it's time to go to bed. I needed the convenience of having someone see to my children during the day, so that when I do get home, their things, they are sorted out, and that would just basically leave me with the mom duties, if we can put it that way.
I started au pairing after I studied Montessori, so I decided to au pair, but I wanted to au pair for a Muslim family, and when I was in search and looking for a Muslim family, I couldn't find it. So I started au pairing for a non-Muslim family, and then I really enjoyed au pairing, and I au paired for about 3 years, of which after that I realized if I was a Muslim student looking for an au pair job, I couldn't find a Muslim family, so that became my motivation to start Muslim au pairs.
The need for Muslim au pairs has increased with both parents being required to work in our present day. Families feel more secure knowing that their children are looked after by someone who understands the Islamic lifestyle. Amira Kara decided to start a company that would cater to these parents.
I started off just doing extensive research on a recruitment agency, specifically in the childcare industry. I also contacted 2 other agencies which I've previously went to looking for employment, and they were great at helping me and telling me, okay, this is what you need to look for, this is what you need to do. So we basically set up registration forms and contract of employment, as well as contracts between myself and the au pair and myself and the clients. And from there we started operating and we started getting clients, and it was just a natural flow from there onwards.
I didn't have the time to take my kids to madrasa after school. We then decided to get an au pair because as a family we've acknowledged that secular education as well as an Islamic education is of equal importance. And what we found was that we sort of put the Islamic education by the wayside, and that was the most important thing for us. Also because of the area we stay in, there isn't a madrasa close by, so we've needed to find something that's not too far away from home. We struggled for a long time to find an au pair that meets the needs and requirements that we specifically wanted. I then actually just chanced it and I Googled Muslim au pairs, and that's how I stumbled across Muslima au pairs. I then got in touch with them, and almost immediately I was sent an email with forms to complete and my requirements as well. Within less than 3 days, Amira got back to me with candidates, and I interviewed them. I had arranged interviews of about 3 candidates, and 2 of them were successful, and then I needed to make a choice.
Since becoming a mother, Amira has realized the need for her child to have the best care possible. Her stringent vetting process involves ensuring candidates are suitable to the home and prepared for the special job of taking care of children.
Now that I'm a mother myself, for me to have a reliable candidate look after my child is very important. I take it seriously in the sense that they need to perform the duties the way I have indicated and not just take it at face value. They need to take their job seriously. So it's not just, okay, I'm looking forward to the end of payday. They need to say, okay, you know what, I'm here for the long run. So how we vet our candidates is before we call them in for an interview, a one-on-one interview, we scrutinize their CV and all their qualifications which they've sent through. They also have to meet our minimum requirements, which is they need to have a minimum of 1 year formal childcare experience. They need to have at least a childcare certificate or trainings or even working with children, and as well as a valid ID. And for an au pair, they need to have a safe, reliable vehicle. So if they meet the minimum requirements, we then call them in for an interview, after which they fill out an application form. We go through the application form as well and then question anything which we find rings any bells of concern for us. and then we do a criminal record check.
Returning to work after having a baby is not easy for any mother, but options are no longer limited to family support, daycares and babysitters. Au pairs seem to be making this process a whole lot easier, and now Muslim moms too can be at peace, knowing their little gems are in good hands.
More and more, the impact of our fast-paced lives has resulted in us paying little attention to our health and wellness. Luckily for us, Dr. Nihal Zafries has some great tips in this month's wellness segment. Assalamu alaikum, Dr. Nihal.
Wa alaikum salam, Mariam.
Depression is something that is often left unaddressed, but we should be more concerned. Tell us more about it. What is it and how can we recognize it?
Depression is a very common mental health disease. It's actually characterized by a chemical imbalance in the brain, and there is some anatomical changes as well. It's important to recognize the features or symptoms of depression. The most overt thing is a depressed mood, but it can also come in a different way. So besides being down or feeling the blues or feeling down, you can also feel agitated, irritated, or some people actually report that they just have a lack of feeling, they just have no sort of feeling. Then there's also physiological changes, so you can have sort of decrease or changes in appetite, weight loss, weight gain. You often hear of people losing 20 kgs, it's concerning. Sleep patterns, that disturb sleep patterns, people that can't fall asleep, people that wake up 4 o'clock in the morning and then they just can't go back to sleep, and just a decrease in activities that you used to enjoy. So a lot of people would withdraw from their friends, or if a guy used to like mountain biking, all of a sudden you just don't like that anymore. Lack of concentration, fatigue, so you're just easily tired, and it starts affecting your overall functioning. You can't go to work because you're not falling asleep at night, so you're tired. And then also preoccupied with death and thoughts of suicide. That's a big thing, yeah.
Now, I know that there are certain subtypes of depression. What are these?
Examples of subtypes are your postpartum depression that occurs after childbirth, as well as your menstrual, your cyclic depression that occurs with menstruation. So that's referred to as your premenstrual dysphoric disorder, or else known as PMS. And then you also get something called seasonal affective disorders. A lot of people experience the blues or depression during the winter seasons.
How can we treat depression?
Medical treatment and psychotherapy. Medical treatment, it could be medication that you take daily, and then the psychotherapy with a multidisciplinary team.
Shukran, Doc, for always helping us live healthy lives.
It's always a pleasure.
We've visited a few different kitchens this season, and I'm very excited for our next showcase by the talented Mehnaz. If you've ever had dreams of creating the perfect sugary treat in a few easy steps, then stay tuned for our next recipe.
Assalamu alaikum, my name is Mehnaz. I am going to be showing you today how to make meringue kisses. It's a simple recipe, it requires just 3 ingredients. We're going to be using egg whites, castor sugar, and some food coloring. I have weighed out 3 egg whites, which weighed out to exactly 100 grams. The castor sugar should be double the quantity of the egg whites. So we have here 100 grams of egg white, and we have 200 grams of castor sugar. So I know the mixture is ready now because the egg whites are nice and thick, it's foamy, and if I flip my bowl over, they should stay in. So our castor sugar has been in the oven for about 5 to 7 minutes. I think it's warm enough to add to our mixture now, so I'm going to take it out of the oven. I am ready to stripe my piping bag with some food color and put the mixture into that and pipe it onto another tray that'll go back into the oven and bake for a couple of minutes at 100 degrees. I like to use disposable piping bags. I find it easy to just throw away after using them. It's a very sticky mixture, so if you're going to use a piping bag that you're going to have to wash, it's going to be difficult to get out. I'm going to do blue and green. I'm just basically going to put my paintbrush into the gel food coloring and I'm going to just paint stripes into my bag. You don't need a nozzle for this. Normal piping bag, cut a little hole at the tip of it. I'm going to pipe little kisses onto my greaseproof paper. I'm going to put a little bit of the mixture in the corners of the greaseproof paper just so that it sticks down and it doesn't lift up as I'm piping. And we're just going to squeeze, stop, release, so that we get a little peak of the meringue on the top. Now that I've finished piping the meringue kisses, I'm going to put it into the oven and let that bake at 100 degrees. I'm going to keep checking on it, so I'll know that they're done when they're firm enough to lift off the paper. I'm just going to tie a bow around this now, just to finish it off and give it a pretty look. I hope you enjoyed my recipe. This is my completed meringue gift box. Assalamu alaikum. Thank you for watching.
For those who are already planning on making these tasty treats, pop onto our An Nur the Light Facebook page for this easy recipe. If you need a helping hand whilst in the kitchen, simply YouTube An Nur the Light and Mehnaz will be in your kitchen talking you through the steps. Please encourage your family and friends to follow us on our social media pages and tune in every week. From me, Mari Mukwanda, Salang Hantle, Assalamu alaikum.